In today's world, we live in an era where injustices are not relegated to history books but are unfolding live before our eyes. As we witness acts of genocide, violence, and oppression, much of the world remains indifferent, almost as though asleep. Despite the sorrow and frustration of seeing such human suffering, we must be grateful to God for granting us the strength and patience to bear witness to these events while standing firm in our commitment to justice. This strength comes not only from within but also from the examples set by the great figures of Islam, such as Imam Hussain alayhi salam, who opposed tyranny, and our faith in the eventual triumph of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, who will restore justice in this world. The tragic aspect of today's injustice lies in its foundation of human madness, often justified by distorted philosophies that claim the ends justify the means. These twisted beliefs have led to widespread suffering and cultural damage, rationalizing violence and oppression. However, we remain assured that ultimate victory belongs to the oppressed. The innocent who suffer and depart from this world in the face of tyranny are led toward an eternal heavenly existence. Meanwhile, the oppressors will inevitably face divine justice in the hereafter. This unshakable belief sustains us, as it sustained those who walked this path before us, including Imam Hussain alayhi salam at Karbala. In the face of widespread suffering and violence, we must ask, how do we respond? How do we protect our minds and souls when the world justifies madness? As believers, we draw strength from our faith, just as Imam Hussain alayhi salam stood courageously against Yazid's oppression at Karbala. We too are called to stand against injustice today. His resistance was not merely a political act, but a moral stand that reflected God's justice. This legacy inspires and guides us. Furthermore, we place our trust in the eventual appearance of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, who will bring true justice and peace. This belief in divine justice is our source of hope, even in the darkest times. Yet, we must remain vigilant, for today's battles are not only physical but also psychological. Psychological warfare through media manipulation, propaganda, and ideological distortions is a tool used by oppressors to obscure the truth and control minds. We must guard our understanding of reality and remain rooted in principles of truth and justice. 5 steps to embracing our role in witnessing injustice. Recognize the reality of injustice. The first step is to acknowledge the suffering and injustice around us. We cannot afford to be passive observers. Recognizing and naming oppression, whether it manifests as genocide, war crimes, or cultural destruction, is crucial. The Quran urges us to stand for justice even if it goes against our own interest. Strengthen faith by reflecting on Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Imam Hussain alayhi salam's stand at Karbala was a monumental act of resistance against tyranny. Reflecting on his sacrifice strengthens our resolve to oppose oppression no matter the odds. This message is timeless, urging us never to bow to injustice and to adhere to truth even when facing overwhelming forces. Trust in the justice of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. Although justice may not be immediate, our belief in the eventual victory of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam is central to our faith. Imam Mahdi alayhi salam represents God's promise that oppression will end and true justice will prevail. This trust helps us endure knowing that divine intervention will come in due time. Remain vigilant against psychological warfare. Today's battles often target the mind. Propaganda, misinformation, and manipulation are used by oppressors to shape narratives and justify their actions. We must educate ourselves, critically evaluate the information we consume, and resist efforts to distort the truth. Imam Ali alayhi salam emphasized the importance of knowledge and awareness in combating deception. Act with compassion and support for the oppressed. Witnessing injustice calls us to action, whether through advocacy, charity, or direct support to those affected. We cannot remain passive. Islam teaches us that the best among us are those who help others. Even small actions contribute to a greater resistance against tyranny and injustice. In conclusion, witnessing the suffering and madness in today's world is challenging but also an opportunity. We have been given the strength and patience to bear witness, not as bystanders, but as advocates for justice. Following the example of Imam Hussain alayhi salam and placing our trust in Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, we hold on to hope while actively working for the victory of the oppressed over oppressors. In this journey, we must guard against the psychological warfare that seeks to weaken our resolve. With faith in the Creator's justice, we remain steadfast in our mission, knowing that victory is certain for those who stand for truth.